information from the public is hardly patriotic. When the White House insists that it's dangerous to report a news event in its entirety, alarm bells should go off for journalists and the American public alike. Here's what bin Laden did say in an interview on September 28, according to the Pakistani newspaper Ahmad. I have already said that I am not involved in the 11 September attacks in the United States. As a Muslim, I try my best to avoid telling a lie. I had no knowledge of these attacks, nor do I consider the killing of innocent women, children and other humans as an appreciable act. Islam strictly forbids causing harm to innocent women, children and other people. Such a practice is forbidden even in the course of battle. It is the United States which is perpetrating every maltreatment on women, children and common people. In this interview, apparently suppressed in the United States, bin Laden unsurprisingly blamed the attacks on Israel, claiming, "All that has been going on in Palestine for the last 11 months is sufficient to call the wrath of God upon the United States and Israel, and for what had earlier been done to the innocent people of Iraq, Chechnya and Bosnia." Bin Laden went on to state, "We are not hostile to the United States. We are against the U.S. government system which makes other nations slaves to the United States or forces them to mortgage their political and economic freedom." One cannot, of course, take bin Laden at face value, but then, the same could be said for the U.S. government, which has been caught in so many lies and deceits in the past that it is surprising that anyone pays any attention to official pronouncements. U.S. foreign policy. What should be thoughtfully considered is the dismal record of United States foreign policy since World War II. This policy, as confirmed by the New York Times years ago, has been in the hands of the Council on Foreign Relations elite since at least 1939. This elite and its associates includes former Presidents George H. W. Bush, Bill Clinton, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter and, the late, Richard Nixon, virtually every CIA director, as well as a considerable number of familiar past and present government officials such as Dick Cheney, Henry Kissinger, Wesley Clark, Strobe Talbot, Alexander Haig, Alan Greenspan, James A. Baker III, Sandy Berger, Colin Powell, Zbigniew Brzezinski, Frank C. Carlucci, John Deutsch, Lawrence Eagleburger, Robert McFarlane and Caspar Weinberger. This policy has been one of neocolonialism, that is, the subjugation and control of other nations through military dictators or wealthy families supported by, and often placed in power by, the U.S. military or intelligence services. The names of nations that have felt the brunt of U.S. CIA and/or military activity as a result of foreign policy include Somalia, Afghanistan, Mexico, Guatemala, Panama, Colombia, Indonesia, Dominican Republic, Iraq, Iran, Libya, Palestinian territories, Cuba, Vietnam, Korea, Nicaragua, Lebanon, Grenada, Haiti, Serbia, Kosovo, Bosnia, Brazil, Chad, Sudan and many others. As Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., stated during the Vietnam War, "My government is the world's leading purveyor of violence." He did not say my country or my people. It is the government, or, rather, those who control it, that is irresponsible, although we, the distracted and unaware citizens who claim to live in a democracy, must take our fair share of the blame. Historical precedents. Is there precedence in history for what is happening to America today? So much so, there is not enough space to present it all. Nero burned Rome, blamed it on his enemies and took dictatorial power. But consider what happened just last century. On February 27, 1933, the German Reichstag or parliament was destroyed by fire. Hitler and his Nazis blamed the destruction on communist terrorists. They even caught one, a retarded Dutch youth named Marinus van der Lubbe, who carried a Communist Party card. After some time in custody, the youth confessed to being the arsonist. However, later investigation found that one person could not have started the mammoth blaze and that incendiaries had been carried into the building through a tunnel which led to the offices of Hitler's closest partner, Hermann Göring. Less than a month later, on March 24, 1933, a panicky German parliament voted 441 to 94 to pass an enabling act at Hitler's urging, which was the starting point for his dictatorship. As a result of this act, Germans soon saw gun confiscation, national identity cards, racial profiling, a national security chief, Heinrich Himmler, and, later, mass murders and incarcerations in concentration camps. One of the Western leaders who supported Hitler and his policies was Prescott Bush, grandfather of President George W. Bush. He must have taken notice of Hitler's method for gaining unwarranted power. Since the Reichstag fire, the Bush family and their associates in the Council on Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission and the Bilderbergers have often mimicked Hitler's tactics of creating a problem, offering a draconian solution and advancing their agenda through any resulting compromise. The real enemy is whoever is behind the September 11 terror attacks. Osama bin Laden, so closely connected to the financial interests of the Bush family and the CIA, may be the mastermind, or he may be a convenient scapegoat, yet another provocation to stampede Americans into another war for oil. We must thoughtfully consider where the real source of terror lies, with one bearded fanatic in an impoverished Middle Eastern country, or with those who would profit while shredding the U.S. Constitution in the name of defending freedom. About the author. Jim Marrs, a native of Fort Worth, Texas, is a distinguished author and investigative journalist whose career began in 1968 as a reporter with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. After serving in the Vietnam War, he became the newspaper's military and aerospace writer. Since 1976, Marrs has taught a course on the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, at the University of Texas at Arlington, and since 1980 has been a freelance writer, author, PR consultant, publisher of a weekly rural newspaper and a monthly tourism tabloid as well as producer of cable TV show and several videos. He is the author of Crossfire, The Plot That Killed Kennedy, 1989, a basis for Oliver Stone's JFK film, Spies, 1995, 2001, UFOs, Alien Agenda and Rule by Secrecy, 2000 See Review in 801. He is also a regular speaker at UFO conferences and, beginning in 2000, began teaching a course on UFOs at the University of Texas. A member of various professional societies, Jim Marrs has received several awards for his writing and photography and is a commentator sought after by U.S. national and regional television and radio talk shows.